How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
What's a camera in my face?
I know. It's all right. What's it like to do one of those presentations so fast?
It's really a little bit intimidating, honestly, because you have to sort of pile down a whole bunch of information and research that you spent lots of time and thoughts about, and do it really lightning fast.
So many of the things of your presentation really jumped out at me, but one of the things that really struck a chord with my heart was not just to think about, the Arctic thawing and the warming Arctic, but how animals can cope with change, the resilience of animals. Talk a little bit about the importance of that research and what that means to you.
Yeah, well, it's a question that I think a lot of people have been thinking about, and what's cool is that, so for Arctic marine mammals, they rely on sea ice. They live in sea icy environments. Of course, sea ice is going away, so we don't have a lot of baseline information, so a lot of the assumptions or thoughts about what's going to happen to those marine mammals is really about their relationship with sea ice, and so there's a lot of hypotheses and theories and assumptions about what's going to happen. And what's cool now is I think there's a lot of emerging research that shows that there's a lot of variability among the different marine mammal species, the different populations of each of the species, and then just in different parts of the Arctic as well. And so, if we think about polar bears, for example, which are always the sort of the poster child of climate change, there's 19 populations of polar bears across the Arctic, and not all populations are really in trouble right now, although there definitely are some. And so there are some of those polar bear populations that are doing great so far. And so we need to think about sort of more of that variability and the idea that there's a spectrum of change, and what that means for the different species and populations. Maybe there will be some refugia for certain species. Maybe certain things will be more impactful for one species but not another, that kind of thing.
And so it's just we're all learning how our world is going to change as our planet is changing around us.
Well, it's kind of an interesting natural experiment because this is a period of very rapid change, and we don't know exactly what it's going to mean. So I think that we can start moving beyond some of the theory and thinking about some of the responses we're seeing so far and what that might mean, thinking about the future. But it's complicated, no doubt.
One of the other things that you mentioned was whales who have to eat have to go down a little bit deeper to get their food. That's what your data has been showing, and it costs more energy to go, so they have to eat more. What does that mean in the big picture?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So beluga whales, that research was specifically about two populations of beluga whales in Alaska's north. And for some of those populations, it seems like they're doing just fine in terms of how sea ice is changing their habitat and their distribution, and they can respond with changes in their migration. But yes, there's maybe some behavioral changes like diving deeper and for longer. Those are behaviors that are energetically costly. And so it's unclear if they're diving deeper and longer because their food source has changed, or maybe it's even more productive but at a deeper depth. And so there could be some trade-offs. It could be negative in terms of body condition or health effects down the line, or it could actually just be a reflection of that they're responding to a shifting prey source. And so that's a big question that still needs to get answered.
And provides you with work to do.
Yeah.
Why do that work here at UAF? Why come to UAF for this?
Well, I actually grew up in Anchorage. I'm an Alaskan, and I actually feel really deeply connected to this place, and to the people and to the resources that the people rely on as well. And so I feel really fortunate to be based here in Alaska and to be doing research that matters, I think, to Alaskans. So that's actually, it's a bit personal for me.
That's kind. Thank you very much, Donna. Thank you for taking some time.
Yeah.
I know break's really short. Okay. Bye.